Hey there, I want to show you some tips here in Microsoft Forms. If you have a survey or a quiz that you want to do, Forms is the place to go. So if I go to forms.office.com, you'll get here. Now this is a new interface for those of you who haven't been to Forms for a while. It looks a little bit different than I did before. So you've got all my recent forms here. You might not see all of them until you click on all of my forms, and then you will see more, and you might even need to click here to show more. So the first thing here is this new interface, being able to see all of your forms all at once and search for them. It's really easy to search for the form there also at the top. Now you will see here also that you've got my groups. So I've got forms associated with groups. These are teams, and this is a really great way of doing things if you have a form where you want other people to see the responses. And so the form doesn't actually belong to you. So you can see in my Nexus team, I've got heaps of different forms in there. So if I click on my groups, you'll see all of these different forms here. So if I go into one of them, you'll notice that the responses to the form, when it's in a group, lives in an online spreadsheet. So you can see open in Excel here is that little cloud icon. That just means all of the answers or all the responses to this form go into this online spreadsheet. And I can actually share the link to this spreadsheet here, which other people will be able to get and see just the responses without seeing the form, which is kind of cool. So I can easily do that by hitting the share button here and then sharing this spreadsheet. The other thing I wanted to show you in here, if I go back to forms, I'm just going to start a new form. So new quiz is now the default option here. So I'd have to actually go to the drop down to just select a new form. So I really want to dig into design here, design of a form and design of an online quiz. So I'm going to just call this a test one. I can give it a description in here. The new and improved, there's lots of themes that you can get going in here. So depending on what it is that you write in here, you might get some different theme options. So educator impact, let's call that this form. So yeah, themes are great, and you can either choose these themes here or colors, or you can choose your own. All right, you can choose your own image to go in the background, which is searchable, or you can choose your own colors. So if you know the hex number, that just brands your form, so it's looks more like the brand that you want in there. Input a search, so you might want to put your crest in there. You can either search for it or upload it. That crest is looking good, so I'll just put that one in there, okay? So all the time while I'm building this form, I can hit preview and see what it's going to look like with the crest in there. Okay, looking good. All right, now, in terms of the choices you've got, the ones that you can see visibly are choice, where you get a multiple choice option, text, a rating, or a date. Those are pretty self-explanatory. There's some in here that you really should know about. File upload. If this form is going out to people within your community, within your organization that have a login, you can use the file upload option, which is great, allows them to upload a file. Likert is the one that I really think is important. A lot of times I see forms where people are asking the same kind of question over and over again and asking people to put in the same answers. This creates a little bit of fatigue in terms of the number of questions that you have to do. It's much better if you can create the form like this, where you've got the options here. You might say poor, and it gives you some options: pair, fair. Let's put fair, good, very good, excellent. All right, so now I've got some options there to put in there, and I could put in my statements here. So I could say something like, how was the service? How was the meal, if you're asking something about that, all right? So I can add as many of these as I want to. Now let's just preview this. This makes it a lot easier for people to answer these questions by going down what's called a Likert survey, okay? So if you're asking similar kind of questions, choose the Likert type of question, and it just makes it a lot easier. If I go back into this question, I can add more statements, venue, so this might be a form about asking people about the venue. You can have whatever you like across here. This could be ratings 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 or something like that, and you can, in the question, you can just explain what those mean, something like that. And again, I can put a picture in here. I can make this a required question, and I can put branching and stuff in there. All right, so that is the Likert question type. The other thing I wanted to point out here is people also can enable the immersive reader, so that when people are actually looking at this, they can see the immersive reader, click on that little symbol there, and then it will be able to read it to them. So
1 question asterisk. End of.
Okay, so if you have all of those in there, they'll actually be read by the immersive reader, which is really, really cool. The other thing I wanted to show you, if I'm just going to share here, not only can I send this link to anybody, so this is a link that I can share with anybody or people in my organization, I can also select specific people. So I might just want certain people to be able to respond to this form and nobody else will be able to see it. That's new. If I click on anyone can respond, one of the things I like to do is click on Shorten URL. This gives you a much nicer link that you can put in an email to paste or give to people, all right? If I go over here into the settings, I've got anyone can fill out the form. I'm setting responses. That's great. So I can have a start and end date, which is really helpful if you want to cut the form off. Now down the bottom here, there's some new things. Response receipts. So allow receipt of responses after submission and get email notification of response. So if you click those two, I'm just going to go back now and refresh here. So I'm going to again do some ranking here. And it says you can print a copy of your answer after you submit. Great. So if I submit my responses and print, we'll get a copy of my answers. So this happens a lot of the time where people will submit a response to a form and they'll forget, say, what they've chosen for their workshop. Now they're able to either save this as a PDF or simply print out the responses to the form so that they can remember that, which is really, really good as well. So there you go. There's some new features there, things to look out for, and things to know about in Microsoft Forms.